Great. Welcome to Digital Asset News. My name is Rob, and we got a lot of things to go over. So just the thumbnail and title suggest, CELCIUS plan comes to light. And I got to tell you, in all honesty, I'm shocked at what they said. I'm surprised at the language that's used, and it's kind of concerning what's going on. But there is some good news along with some bad news that I think I'm going to leave it up to your best judgment to decipher what that is. But first, we'll take a look at the market. It's actually being a little more resilient, so it's looking pretty good. We'll go over that legal summary, talk about why I'm shocked, what's going on, and then also how to file a claim, which a lot of people have been asking me about. And then we'll also go over some couple of stories about another fund closes access to withdrawals, and this involves the MOOCH, Anthony Scaramucci. Then we'll take a look at some documents for Three Arrows Capital and how they're using your funds to buy yachts and bungalows for multiple millions of dollars. And finally, we'll go over some a little bit more concerning news, which is what's going on with whale number 3 as they move thousands upon thousands of Bitcoin out of their wallet. So we'll go over all those things. But first, let's go over what's going on in the market today. So today is actually a pretty good day. I'll be honest with you. It's looking pretty good, and things are quite resilient as we see what's going on. So today, Tuesday, 19th of July, I mean, things are looking pretty damn good. I'll be honest with you. Bitcoin's at 23.2. We're over $1 trillion yet again. Maybe we can get back to 2 trillion. I'm not injecting a bunch of hopium. I'm just saying that's my hopes and dreams and wishes to get back to 2 trillion. Ethereum over the last week has been up over 42%. News about the merger happening. Hopefully it goes through. I'm kind of a skeptic, but they're going the right direction. That's all that really matters. Binance Coin's up. Everything's up. Solana's up 13%. That's crazy. Polygon, I mean, it's down a little bit today, but 63% for the week's pretty good. Polkadot's up, Dogecoin's up, Cardano's up 16%. Everything's looking pretty good. And that is, of course, remember, CPI numbers were the 13th of July, and we're going to see the Fed come in, and they're going to say what they're going to do as far as basis points. They're going to raise up, a full, I know people are correcting me about this all the time, 0.75 or 75 basis points or a full percentage point, however you want to say it. But yeah, I'm hoping for a full point to go all the way up. That'd be awesome. And then we can just rip the Band-Aid off. And if they go a full point or a full percentage point and it comes up and they say, yep, that's what we're going to do, and the market still stays resilient, I think we're going to see some pretty good times. However, I'm a big believer in the 4-year cycles, so I'm not holding my breath. Anyhow, that's what's going on in the market, which makes me think about what's going on in traditional markets. And you can see today, I mean, S&P 500 is up 2.5% almost. NASDAQ's up almost 3%. So maybe the earnings reports weren't as bad as people were making them out to be. So that's what's going on in the market. Things are looking good for today. But remember, this is not a bull market. There is low volume in our crypto market. We're just barely over $1 trillion. So don't trust these pumps for anything else. And don't think that things are going to go up to the moon. Do I know that for a fact? No, I don't. And no one else really does either. So just be careful out there. I can't tell you what to do. This is not financial advice. But for me, you might want to think about taking profits, especially when you see what's going on with whale number 3. So that's what's going on in the markets themselves. Let's get into the big show. What the heck's going on with CELCIUS? So there was a tweet put out yesterday by CELCIUS Network. And they've already had their day in court, and they've already talked about their reorganization plan. And they state here, hey, it's going to be a big buy-in from the community. I got to tell you, trust is destroyed. I don't see myself going back anytime at all, if soon. But here they are, and they're making their case. And they states here, customers can now file notice of a claim with Stretto. That is the organization that is leading the charge for their legal process. For additional information, you can visit this website, which I linked in the description, or you can call this number. Now, I personally called the number because I was like, I wonder if I'm going to get a real live person. Surprise, I didn't. And what it comes down to, you can call the number today, that's fine, or the international number. What it's going to say is leave a message, and we'll get back to you as soon as humanly possible. So good luck with that. You can email them too. Also good luck with that. So what this link is going to send you to is to this website. Looks like this. Actually, it doesn't look like this. It looks like this. At the very top, it's going to look just like Stretto, CELCIUS Network, blah, blah. We've seen this before. Everybody's seen this. But if you scroll to the top here, you can click on File a Claim. And the documents that I'm going to show you today, you can find those right here under first day presentation, please click here. And we'll go over that in a second. But to file a claim, click on file a claim. And then just so you know, it says right here, proofs of claim are public documents that will be available for viewing online unless otherwise stated. And let's see. Please review your supporting documents and redact accordingly prior to submitting them with your filed claim. Let's see. Important notice. A document has been redacted when the person filing it has masked, edited out, or otherwise deleted certain information. So just so you know, some of this information will be public. So if you don't want that to be public, maybe you don't want to file the claim. And actually, the real question is, do you even want to file a claim moving forward? And we'll get into why you might not want to, because it might be a waste of time. Anyhow, so you click on electronic claims filing. And when you click on that, it's going to ask you for a password. Guess what? You don't have a password. And what you're going to say is you're going to click on here, don't have a password, request it right here. It's going to send it to your email. You're going to get that email. You're going to put in that password. That password is going to, after you do that, it's going to ask you to accept the terms and conditions, which you can read right through them. It's quite boring, but you can go right through. And then once you do that, you're going to get to something that looks like, this, if it would have done it. Of course, it kicks me out. That's okay. I'll log back in. Accept terms and conditions. Sure, whatever. You're going to select the debtor, CELCIUS Network, CELCIUS KeyFi, or CELCIUS Lending, whatever applies to you. This would be me. And you click on next. And it's going to have you fill out this information. Name of the current creditor. It's you. Other names. Has this claim been required? No. And then all the information that you want to put in there. I'm not going to put anything in there. Let's see. No, not right now. And then it's going to ask for the last 4 digits, the debtor's account number or account or any number used to identify the debtor, probably your social. How much is the claim? Does this amount include interest or other charges? You're going to put in the dollar amount right here. And then, of course, nature of property. Is it real estate, motor vehicle, or other? This is a pretty generic form. Obviously, it'll be other. And you're going to put in your crypto and everything that's there. You can actually still look at your Voyager account and take a look at what is there right now currently that is being held up. So that's if you want to go through that. But I got to tell you, there was a YouTube video with it was Tone Vase, it was Simon Dixon, and a couple different lawyers, and they said you can file a claim, but if it's under like $1 million, chance of it actually being looked at and paid out, not too high. So that's just what was said in that presentation. Could be incorrect, and you could go ahead and file it and go from there. It's up to you. I'm not your dad. You do whatever you want to do. However, this is the thing that is concerning to me for those first day information or the info that was put out by CELCIUS. This is, let me see, the first day filings, which again, the first day presentation or filings you can find right here, which is what I have. I just highlighted some things that I find concerning. And this is what it is. Case number 22-10964, U.S. Bankruptcy Court, Southern District, New York. Great. Here's where it all breaks down. And this is why we wanted things public, so we can see it. So this is what they state. The total assets that they control, or they are in their control right now, was reduced by almost $18 billion since March 30th. Well, how'd that happen, Rob? Great question. So this is what happened. First of all, users got spooked and they took out $2 billion. I cannot blame you. And I'm sure a lot of us are probably thinking to ourselves, boy, would have been greater to take everything out. I personally had 3% of my portfolio on there and I didn't get everything out. So here we are. So and of course, other people have left like their entire life savings in there and so on and so forth. So not the greatest. Decline. Also, this was the problem. There was a decline in market value of $12 billion. Okay. Crypto liquidated by third parties or Tether, almost $1 billion. Crypto lost from investments, $100 million. And the loans, this is the big thing. Loans, almost $2 billion due to loan redemption and liquidation. That would be what they talk about as far as 3 Arrows Capital. So we can take a look right here. Obviously, this is in millions. So bank cash. On March 30th, they had 110 million. July 14th, 170 million. It's pretty good. So change is the positive, 60. Other, whatever they consider that be, 450 million. So they're down 70. All right. Mining assets. This is going to be a big thing because they own a mining company And this is one of their plans to pay us all back with Bitcoin mining. So the mining assets in March was 630 million. Now it's 720. It's a positive of 90. Sell assets, loans was 4 billion. Then over here, 620 million. So that's a loss of 3.4 billion. And crypto assets reduced 14 billion down to 1.7. So total assets, 17.8 was the reduction since March 30th, which you can see over here in this nice little graph. When I first saw this, I was like, what's the problem? They got 22 billion in crypto assets, loans, sell assets, mining, other. I'm like, oh, unfortunately, that's March 30th, 2022. Those are the good days, right? And now on the right-hand side, July 14th, it's 4.3 billion. So they went from 22, height of their glory, to 4.3. And then, of course, they say that's because of loans. That's because of people taking their money out, which is their right, I might add. And, of course, the reduction in the market, which we're going to take a look at also as, Anthony Scaramucci and Skybridge, they're not able to withdraw over there as well. But getting back to this, that's not the shocking thing. We already knew parts of that. Here's the shocking thing to me. The legal questions that were posed by their counsel asked these specific critical questions, as they put it. Legal issues critical to the outcome of this case include, are the crypto assets in CELCIUS's possession property of the estate? Meaning, the crypto assets, your stuff, my stuff, they're legitimately asking this question is, does CELCIUS own it? Or do the people that put that into CELCIUS, do they own it? Really, that's the question. Is the answer to this question different for crypto assets held on the custody versus the earn program? We'll get into that in a second. What does it mean to unimpair a crypto claim or to pay a crypto claim in full? Meaning, if you had one Bitcoin and it was worth 30,000, and now, of course, today it's worth 20,000, are they going to pay you $20,000 or the 30,000 when you deposited as it decreased? I don't care about that. Me personally, I'd just rather have my one Bitcoin back. One Bitcoin, as far as I remember, still equals one Bitcoin. So that's that part. And this is it. Are customers entitled to the return of crypto in kind? Meaning, if it was one Bitcoin worth 30,000 March, and now it's worth 20,000, well, now do you get 0.75 Bitcoin as opposed to what it was? Again, I still think one Bitcoin is still worth one Bitcoin. The amount of a crypto claim is determined as of what date? Which CELCIUS entities do customers have claims against? Remember, there's multiple entities. That is CELCIUS Limited, holding companies, and things like that. And this is the thing that really blew me away. I'm going to have to read this twice. Can CELCIUS recover customer withdrawals or loan liquidations completed in the 90 days before the filing, before the Chapter 11? Meaning, they're saying that, first, the question is, do we own your crypto because you deposited and you gave us access to do whatever we wanted with it? And the second thing is, can we claw back all those withdrawals that you did within 90 days? I'm not a lawyer, nor do I play one on TV. But when I look at this is what it means to me. Correct me in the comments. This is what was one of the things that blew me away. So that's not great. And then the current state of operation, there's the earn, custody, borrow, and institutional. And of course, the status was no withdrawals. Customers can take out new loans. This was, really? Customers can take out new loans? They let that happen? That's weird. That's weird. Customers can take out new loans after the pause date? Well, if they want to 2x, 3x, and 4x collateralize, why wouldn't they allow that to happen, right? They don't allow that for 3 Arrows Capital. Borrow all you want. You don't have to collateralize with us. Same thing with Voyager. I'm not going to let them off the hook either. No new loans for institutional lending. Yeah, that makes sense. And then after the petition date, unchanged, no new loans, unchanged. Okay. After pause date. So it's after pause date, which was June 12th when they stopped withdrawals, and then after the petition date, July 13th. Okay. Proactive steps. And this is interesting. The key steps were taken before filing to pull crypto assets back into CELCIUS custody. which is true. Celsius unwound most positions where it had borrowed from and posted collateral with third parties. And we've seen a lot of this. We've seen a lot of them paying off Aave, paying off the different DeFi places where they can actually get those assets back, which I applaud. That's great. Nearly all of Celsius assets are stored in Fireblocks. That's great because remember, they used some other kind of custody service and they lost the keys for Ethereum a while ago. And of course, like, sorry, we lost your keys, so we have no access to that. Now they're just using Fireblocks. Celsius is no longer relying on an intermediary to hold the keys. That's great. In addition, no new loans, froze loan accounts, suspended new deployment. That's good for the company. That's not good for you and me. All right, so here's the overview. Again, who owes what? You got Celsius Network Lending LLC, Celsius Network Limited UK, US Holdings, Network LLC, Celsius Operations LLC, KN Media Manager. Again, who owes what? Because there's a bunch of different companies. That'll go down the terms and conditions. That's why they asked that question. Here's the customers. There's a lot of customers. It grew very fast. We can't deny that. Here's a sticking point. There was two types of programs. Well, it was one program, really. It was really just earn and borrow, really. But then they made a deal with the U.S. government as of April 15th. They said, if you're not an accredited investor, what that means is that you can no longer earn yield for anything that you put in after April 15th. If you're not an accredited investor, meaning like you make $200,000 or more, or you have a net asset worth of $2 million, something like that. I always forget the specifics of it. And I am an accredited investor. I just didn't want to do that because I thought to myself, why should I gain interest on that when the people who watch my channel don't? So what I did was I took everything out of earn and I stuck it right in custody. This might be actually a saving grace. So it is good to do the right thing at the right time. I'll tell you why. So under this earn program, under the terms of use titled, the coins is transferred to Celsius, and Celsius is entitled to use, sell, pledge, and rehypothecate those coins. That is exactly in the terms of service. That is true for that earn program. However, with the custody program, which you can just say, look, you can custody it and I'll take it out whenever I want to. That began in April 2022, April 15th to be exact. Title remains with customer, and Celsius cannot use the coins without instructions from the customer. Let me say it again. The title remains with the customer if you use the custody program, and Celsius can't touch it. Well, first of all, let me scroll down a little bit first. Well, how many people did that? 4%. The deposit breakdown goes like this. For the custody program, only 4% of people did that. That was me. The earn program, that was about 15%. 4% also for, what is this one? Lending. And 77%, 1, 2, 3, was sell balance. That's the deposit breakdown, which is a lot of crypto on there. All right, moving back up. I wanted to make sure we touch on this point, which is the mining. This is where they believe they're going to pay us all back. Mining. Key business segments. Celsius, through its debtor subsidiary Celsius Mining LLC, operates one of the largest Bitcoin mining enterprises in the U.S. Celsius operates over 43,000 rigs and plans to operate 112,000 rigs by Q2 2023. That's a lot of Bitcoin being produced. Let's dig into that real quick. What does that mean? So this was just put out today by Fortune. And they state this. The company, let me blow this up, which has valued at $3.5 billion last November, has a $1.2 billion hole in its balance sheet. I think it's more than that. Most of which is due to the $4.7 billion worth of crypto the exchange owed to its users. Great. Bankruptcy filed on July 14th. Celsius said it hoped to compensate its creditors, including its hundreds of thousands of users, with crypto minted through mining. The lender defended this plan in its first bankruptcy hearing on Monday. Celsius asked the judge to approve the company spending $5 million to jumpstart the mining operation. So that's a question. Do you think that's a good idea? Would you vote for that? Where's your voice? How do you tell them that? You're part of the community. That's the big question. And I'll get to that in a second. In a world where the crypto market rebounds, the mining business has the potential to be quite valuable. That's Pat Nash, the Celsius lawyer. I got to agree. it could be quite valuable. It could be very valuable in like 2 or 3 years, especially if we think where I believe Bitcoin is going. I don't think we're going to stay at 12 or 20,000 forever, or 15 or 10 or wherever it goes down to. I think Bitcoin's price will increase. That's why I'm doing these videos. The judge approved CELCIUS spending requests, but U.S. regulators are not wholly convinced the plan will work. Shara Cornell, attorney from U.S. Trustee Program, said that she was unconvinced. She suggests CELCIUS cut its losses and liquidate its mining operations. That's what's going on right now. Do you think that's a good idea? Where's your voice? How do you let them know that? CELCIUS insolvency is uncharted territory in bankruptcy law. I'm working right now to get a bankruptcy lawyer on the program to talk about this, because this is the most truth out of everything we just talked about. This is uncharted territory. Bankruptcy law, there's a lot of different questions to actually answer. And there's a lot of minutia to go through before we get to those right answers. And it states this: in its terms of use, CELCIUS warns that user deposits could be subject to bankruptcy proceedings with results that are impossible to predict reliably, and could include the total loss of any and all digital assets, which means CELCIUS users could lose all the crypto they stored on the company's platform during the ongoing bankruptcy proceedings. I'm like, is that 100% true? Well, yes, it is actually. So here's Celsius.network, terms of use, linked in the description. Consent to CELCIUS use of digital assets. You signed this. I signed this. We all signed this. Because guess what? Nobody looks at this stuff. Well, very few. But here's what it says. In the event that CELCIUS becomes bankrupt, enters liquidation, or is otherwise unable to repay its obligations, any eligible digital assets used in the earned service or as collateral under the borrow service may not be recoverable. Let me say it again. The earned service or collateral under the borrow service may not be recoverable. What about that custody part that we just talked about? The custody which happened April 15th? Nothing in here in terms of service. From what I see, if you put it in custody, you should have access to that right now, because it's not in the terms of service. They didn't update it. There's nothing here. Correct me in the comment section. It just makes me kind of angry that that happens, but whatever. And you may not have any legal remedies or rights in connection with CELCIUS obligations to you other than your right as a creditor of CELCIUS under any applicable laws, which is what they're trying to go through now. So that is an option. Not a fantastic option, but it's an option nonetheless. How CELCIUS is different. I will say this. Out of all the direct disdain that we pour towards CELCIUS, did they not pay on deposits? Yes, they did. $634 million. That is true. Some people will say, well, that's exactly what Bernie Madoff did too. I'm not here to debate that. I'm not a lawyer. But there was yield paid, and that is just the truth. Here's the breakdown again. Events leading to Chapter 11. I think we all know this. 3 Arrows Capital, Here's the timeline. And it's amazing how fast things deteriorate, which makes you understand just how nimble you have to be in this market. And that's why like people ask me, well, Rob, aren't you dollar cost averaging? Well, no, the facts have changed. I'm actually dollar cost averaging every Sunday, and I'm waiting for July 27th to come about. Well, didn't you say you dollar cost average every day? Well, yeah. But when the facts change, I change. That's really pretty much how it is. Like, here's another thing. I used to shop at Blockbuster all the time. Things change, and I don't use that anymore. It doesn't make any sense, right? So it's the same thing here when we take a look at what's happening. And that's just how fast things can go. Crypto market headwinds. This is April to May when Luna collapsed. They paused it roughly a month later, actually 3 weeks later. And then now here we are in Chapter 11 restructuring. Here's what it means for you. Here's the next steps, what they're going to do, what they want to do, and why your voice is so valuable. You need to preserve, the next step is this. They want to preserve value while negotiating a comprehensive restructuring transaction with stakeholders. All right. Use Bitcoin minted by mining operations to help fund mining operations and grow Bitcoin holdings, which will help pay everybody back. That sounds good. The question is, how long would that take? Consider asset sales and third-party investment opportunities, meaning sell off some crypto to pay off people, because it's what it comes down to. This last sentence is, file and confirm a Chapter 11 plan that will, 1, provide customers, you and me, with the option at the customer's election to recover either cash at a discount or remain long crypto. What does that mean? That means like this. You want to cash out, you want your money, you want to just say, okay, I'm going to take a haircut of 55% or a haircut of 30% or a haircut of 70% or whatever else it is. We'll do that. Here's your money. Adios. Good luck to you. Suerte. That's an option. Or another option is you can remain long in crypto, sit around for a couple of years, wait for this Bitcoin mining operation, wait for the assets to go up, and they either sell off or pay back people in any way they possibly can. But this is exactly or pretty close to what Simon Dixon was talking about for depositors first. It was one of those three things that he explicitly said we could actually do. And people gave him so much hate, and I'm like, I don't understand what the hate's coming from. I just don't get it. This guy has skin in the game. He's got a lot of funds in there. He's already done this with Bitfinex. So why not? Anyhow, when we're talking about your voice is heard, I link this in the description. If you go to this page, this is just for all Celsius users. I've already filled this out. Your name and email, depositor, and just talk about what would you like to see? The things that we just talked about, would that be an option? Because right now, when Bank of the Future and them go to talk to Celsius, remember where it talks about here? Consider asset sales and third-party investment opportunities. That's Bank of the Future. They probably want to know what you want to do because they are just like you. Simon's just like us. He's got a bunch of money just stuck there and he doesn't want to see it stuck. So when they're going about investment opportunities for third parties, well, they're 5% shareholders, and that's what they're going to talk to. So it's up to you of what you want to do. Do you want to file a claim? Do you want to sit around and just wait around? Do you want to fill out this form or whatever else it is? I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you which way I'm leaning for. I'm waiting for, and I'm leaning for Simon Dixon, these guys, to go there and go, look, these guys don't want a bunch of money and get out. If this was beforehand, I think a lot of people would have said, yeah, I'll do it. I'll take a bunch of money and just run. But I think you, if you're here right now, I don't know who you are, you're probably here for the long haul. So maybe you'd probably want to do that second option, just sit around, Bitcoin mining operations, and then a little bit of liquidity. Again, it's all what you want to do. Let me know what you want to, what you think about that in the comments section. I'm sure that'll be spicy. And let's finish up here with just how fast things happen, which is the MOOCH. So it's not just like Celsius and Voyager. There's a bunch of other different companies and funds and exchanges that are shutting down as well, stopping withdrawals. And here's another example. Anthony Scaramucci Skybridge has suspended client withdrawals from one of its funds against a backdrop of a depreciating stock market. So Legion Strategies fund stock client redemptions on the grounds that 20% of its holdings are in privately held companies, which are hard to sell. Which ones are those? Well, funds include crypto exchange FTX. And now, instead of holding 20%, it holds just 10% of its assets in cryptocurrencies. Legion Strategies Fund gained exposure in the digital world, managed by Skybridge Capital, where they were really heavy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Algorand. I believe that when the MOOCH was on the show about a year ago, he revealed that they put in $250 million, $250 million into Algorand. And this is by February 28th. Nearly a quarter of the fund's assets were invested to crypto exposed funds. So it doesn't just happen here, it happens everywhere. And expect more of that. So that's just a bummer. And then also, this might really tick you off, but I have to say it because it's just interesting. 3 Arrows Capital. The bankruptcy documents came out, and it looks like they're buying a bunch of stuff, which, hey, it is what it is. So Singapore-based firm was one of the crypto's largest, most prominent funds. They manage over $10 billion, which I found interesting because they got so many loans from so many people. Of course, that all went kaput when they put it into Terra Luna and Anchor Protocol and crazy stuff and pretty much lost it all. Somebody right now is extremely rich from shorting that. Anyhow, court-appointed liquidator Tinio uploaded the bankruptcy filing to a website it created called 3acliquidation.com. And they put hundreds of papers, and they took it down for some reason. And the whole thing was this. Matters appear to have gone worse or wrong in April or May 2022, which is when everything happened, when 3AC was reported to have spent between 200 to 600 million to purchase Luna. I think it's more, but I mean, they had $10 billion, 600 million. Okay. And then it just goes through the timeline, which I'm not going to bore everybody with because we all know it. But there was this thing right here. Davies and Zhu, these are the co-founders, 3AC, ignored outreach from creditors and kept their locations hidden because no one knows where they are in prolonged radio silence. The filing also refers to a Zoom call among Davies and Zhu and their liquidators, which they got to confront the people that, of course, need their money back. And what they did is the two founders were on mute with their cameras off. I got to tell you, that is one ballsy thing to do. Just like, we're going to show up, but you can't see us or talk to us. Talk to the lawyers. The filings accuse Zhu and Davies of using company funds to pay for a new yacht and other properties. In addition to ignoring any attempts by the company's creditors, they've also reportedly made a down payment of $50 million. That's the down payment. Oh, sorry. The down payment on a $50 million yacht. So it's not a down payment. It's only a measly $50 million. That's your money. With the yacht to be delivered sometime in the next 2 months in Italy. Well, I hope they get that. In the filing, creditors also request to see if Zhu and his wife used company funds to buy 2 good-class bungalows, which refer to rare and expensive mansions in Singapore for $35 million and $20 million, please. So we'll see if that goes through. But as I understand it, they have to liquidate all those things. But if not, I mean, hey, if you gotta take everybody's money, you might as well just take it in style. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section. And lastly, to finish this up, I know that our market's looking good and strong, but didn't it look pretty good and strong just 4 or 5 months ago? And of course, that's when it was above $3 trillion, I want to say. Just remember, what goes up must come down. And be careful. There's a reason why I got these rules underneath me. It's not so I can waste my breath, but it's just to remind myself. You can listen or not. I don't care. But the rules are this. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. It's all gone. So just think of it like that, and it won't be so stressful. Everything's a scam. Treat everything like a scam. You'll be a lot better person. You'll be a lot happier. Don't leave anything in exchanges. Don't use any leverage, and take profits along the way. These are my rules. They are not your rules, but these are the ones that have helped me along the way. Having said that, just remember, what goes up must come down, which leads me to well number 3. Well number 3, this is from Ben taught me about this person. I believe it's Nancy Pelosi, but no one believes me. And this is just a history of a monstrous whale, and some people have their theories as to why it is. Some people think it's the Gemini twins. Some people think it's Nancy Pelosi. Some people don't know. Maybe it's Peter Schiff. I don't know. And you can just tell from, because that's the great thing about blockchain. Everything's open. On February 5th, 2019, I liked how they dollar cost average. They started off with $3 when Bitcoin was $3,405. Then they went $20, $9. Then they bought $4,000. And like, you know what? I think it works. Let's put in 3 million and 19 million at $3,000 per Bitcoin. And along the way, you can see that there's in green, this is quite an accumulation. In red, this doesn't mean they're selling. It just means that it's moving. But usually when you move things, good amount of time or some time, good portion of that could be going to other exchanges to sell off. So you'll see these things. And well number 3 has been pretty good. And lastly, just to see the recent ones, the last big taking off of Bitcoin was 500 Bitcoin. And that was worth almost $4 million. And that was when Bitcoin was at 30,000. Pretty good time to sell, I got to tell you. I mean, was better times, when it was like 60,000, but they did it pretty good at 38,000 and at 41,000 and at 46,000, back down to 40, and so on and so forth. So just to be aware, they just moved on yesterday. Yeah, they just moved 5,000 Bitcoin, actually 10,000 Bitcoin, actually 12,005, actually 15,000 Bitcoin. Is that right? 5, 10, 15. Yeah. 15,000. Wow. 15,500. They moved it. That's a lot of Bitcoin. That's like 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I don't know. It's a lot of money. So that's what's going on with whale number 3. Why do they move it? Maybe they just want to do a bunch of wallets. Maybe they want to sell. I have no idea. But just something to be aware of moving forward. So that concludes today for the news. So look, It's not always great news, but it is interesting to see where Celsius is going with this and the language that is used. So make your voice heard. Link in the description, and fill that form out and just say what you want to see to be done. Because without your information, we're just guessing right here. And if you want us to just, or if you want the community just to rely on the lawyers to figure that out, good luck. Anyhow, that's it for today for the news. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Now, if you got to take off, get out of here. You've been here for 35 minutes. But if you want to stick around for Q&A, I'll answer all your burning questions to the best of my abilities